Christine Lagarde is one of the world's most powerful women. She leads the International Monetary Fund, an organisation set up to promote economic stability worldwide. We caught up with her in Dublin, Ireland, to discuss Greece, the future of the Eurozone and the global economy in 2015. Christine Lagarde, you're the head of the IMF. You're here in Dublin, Ireland, to talk obviously about the lessons we can learn from the Irish bailout. Is Ireland really a model when you consider the social cost of what happened?
If I look at the numbers, clearly the Irish recovery is quite extraordinary. Because when you look at growth, it's up and the highest in the Eurozone. If you look at unemployment, it's down by almost 3 percentage points. If you look at debt, it's declining. If you look at deficit, it's been halved almost. So all those numbers are really solid and give the direction of a good recovery. Now, there is still over 10% unemployment and over 20% young people unemployed. So we are not there yet. And although Ireland is off to a good start, it still has work to do to actually continue that unemployment decline and that job creation. Those will be the key tests to the actual and full success of the Irish recovery.
And there's also 750,000 people living in poverty in Ireland, according to government statistics. When you hear these kind of stories, how these austerity cuts have affected people's lives, what do you feel as the public face of the IMF? There's that terrible story of the 77-year-old pharmacist who shot himself dead in Athens because he didn't want to leave debts for his children. What do you feel when you hear these stories?
Well, just like every other human being, we feel terrible, in the face of those tragedy and in the face of the misery that people feel.
And you regret
but equally, when we have to get into a territory, when a country calls for help, it's that they have not been able to manage the situation. They have run spending way ahead of what they could afford. They are not controlling their public finances. And the situation is very bad. So we have to go in and help the country restoring economic condition, restoring access to financing, making sure that the economy is back into job creation rather than job destruction. So
the mantra is keep calm and carry on cutting. Couldn't we have done anything differently apart from these harsh austerity measures?
I think in the case of Ireland, there was clarity of purpose. There was focus on financial and fiscal. There was determination. There was ownership by the authorities as well as by many people in Ireland that they wanted to get out of the very deep financial crisis they were in. And I think there was also extraordinary human competence to try to carry it through and deliver the results and the performance and the jobs that are being created now.
Let's talk about Greece. I know it's a very sensitive subject, but there's an election coming up.
Which is the reason I might not tell you much about it.
Well, let's have a go anyway. Let's try.
We try to be respectful.
I understand, but the leader of Syriza, Alexis Tsipras, he says that he wants a huge debt write-off as what he's going to be asking from the Troika. Do you think he'll get it?
I think we need to wait until Friday, see what the result of the election will be, and then figure out what kind of coalition is put in place, and then remind that country that it has made commitments to its European partners, to its creditors, and that of the structural reforms that were to be implemented to restore the situation of the Greek economy, only very few out of what was committed has been delivered. And more work needs to be done, not for us, not for the European partners, not for the European Parliament, as Mr. Schulz has indicated, but for the Greek people themselves. I'll give you an example.
And all the European banks as well.
In terms of tax collection, for instance, hardly any of the benchmarks have been respected. And when I said that, all Greek people, including the wealthy ones, had to pay their tax. That's what I meant. Tax collection is an objective that needs to be delivered upon.
Is Greece's debt sustainable?
We'll see about that when we continue the review work and the negotiation with the authorities as soon as the elections is over and as soon as the coalition is in place, if it takes a coalition.
You have no contingency plan, you have no feeling of whether...
If I did, I wouldn't tell you anyway, so thanks for trying, but no.
So, I mean, what's at stake?
By the way, the IMF is a contingency plan almost every day when we are called upon helping any of our members in the membership.
What's at stake in this Greek election?
You know, it's like any election. It's for the people to decide democratically what they want, what they expect, and what's the future for them.
The membership of the Eurozone for Greece?
This is not for me to decide. It's a matter for the Euro partners and Greece to discuss. But I've heard many comments made, and I'm sure you have too.
What would be the consequences of a Greek exit of the Eurozone, though? I mean, what would be the impact be on the Greek economy if that did happen? I know it's a hypothetical question, but I'm just interested from your vantage point at the head of the
From
IMF.
a very, very hypothetical question of a member exiting the Eurozone, which to my knowledge is not allowed under the Eurozone articles of partnership, if you will, there would be a massive financial cost as a result.
Let's just move on to the world economy. What do you see as the main challenges for 2015?
Growth and jobs. And that's not vastly different from what it was in 2014, except that we are concerned about the growth potential of many of the advanced economies, United States excluded. The United States is clearly having a recovery. It's getting deeper, stronger, but we're not seeing that in either the Eurozone or in Japan, for instance. We're seeing it in the UK, but not in...
And why not in the Eurozone, do you think?
You know, the combination of the relatively gradual and slow bank recapitalization over time, the fact that there is a very, very low inflation going forward is clearly having an effect on growth potential, therefore on the level of confidence, and you into that sort of dangerous loop that needs to be exited from in order to restore confidence, in order to kickstart investment again, and in order to restore the growth potential.
Just one final question, if I may turn to your personal career. I know, like all good politicians and public officials, you're focused on the job in hand. But Mr.
Yes,
Sarkozy...
You got the answer.
Mr. Sarkozy is now back in French politics, somebody you were very close to when you served in the French government. Obviously, he's now the head of the opposition UMP. If Mr. Sarkozy picked up the phone and asked you to rejoin him in the French political scene, what would you say to him?
You know, I'm not going to comment on French politics because this is not my task. It's not my mission. It's not my interest.
You have no plans to return to French politics?
I told you I would not respond.
Christine Lagarde, thank you very much.
Pleasure.